guys, it's Julie. I'm here with Max the Doberman, who's one of our board and trained dogs. And I'm making this video to show you guys the correct way to hold a leash when you're walking your dog. Believe it or not, there are a couple ways you can do it correctly, but there's also a couple ways that you can do this incorrectly, and a couple of them are pretty dangerous actually. So the first, I'm going to show you how not to hold your leash. Okay, I see this a lot downtown when I'm walking dogs. This is probably the most dangerous way to hold a leash, is if you take the leash and put the handle through your hand, and then you wrap the leash around your wrist like this. I see this a lot, and you walk your dog. The problem with this, especially with a large power breed dog like Max, who's a big Doberman, is even if he's immaculately trained on e-collar heel, he's usually good 99.9% of the time. If he decides to get a wild hair and sees a rabbit, a cat, a squirrel, and in a split second decides to lunge or go after it, he is taking me with him. And I will be dragged. He will have no problem dragging me down the sidewalk, the road, into a tree, anything. So this is definitely a no, especially when you're walking big dogs, okay? So that's the first no-no. The second way we encourage people not to hold a leash is just by holding the handle. Especially if your dog is trained on heel. Believe it or not, we don't encourage walking with this much leash, because if your dog has this much leash, odds are they're going to push the limits and take it. Now that we've showed you two improper ways to hold the leash, we're going to show you the correct way and the way that we teach our clients to hold the leash. The safest way, the most comfortable way, and the way that sets you and your dog up for most success. Okay? All right, Josh, you want to show me how to do this?
Yeah, so one of the ways that we do this, here, let me get Max. Why don't you switch positions with Max? Hey, Max, good boy. Sit. Boy. So, how I like to do this with a dog is the first thing I do is I take the loop of the leash and I put it between my two fingers here, the middle finger and the ring finger. Okay? Because I know that if I have a closed fist, dog's not going anywhere. Some people do the thumb, but I prefer this. And then we do loose circles, like so. Keep going, big and loose. We don't want it tight, as Julie said. And then I keep the length of the leash. With Max, it's going to be really short because he's a pretty tall guy. So that when he's in the heel position for the structured walk, he's not feeling any tension, but it's short enough that if he moves out of position even the slightest, I feel it, and so does he. So also, the reason for this, there's a lot of reasons for this. One, if you need to let go of your dog, you can do that quickly. If they're going after something and you really don't want to be dragged down, as Julie said, if you have it around the wrist, you're kind of going down with your dog. This way, you have two options. One, you can just drop the whole thing and get out of there, right? And just, there goes your dog, you save your arm, use your recall, okay? Another way, which is a really useful thing too, the other option you have is to be able to drop all the leash except the handle, which is a training technique that we use here if a dog has a history of being reactive, and we don't really want to let them get to the other dog, but we don't want to be right around them either. So what we can do, if the dog starts headed that way, I can drop everything except this part of the leash and head that way, and by the time I feel the tension of the leash about to happen, I can give a little pop and the dog comes back in my direction, and I'm successfully away from the area of danger, and my dog doesn't make it to the other dog, right? Now it's important to know these are kind of protocols for when stuff hits the fan, when everything's kind of chaotic and you need to just use management. This is what we do. So not only is this comfortable, it's practical. You can adjust very easily the length of the leash. You can just drop a little bit, wrap it back up. It's very practical, it's very safe, and it's what we use on every dog here. So.
All right, let's see if I can do this.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see if it's as easy as it looks.
And see if you can coach me through this.
So,
all right,
show me what you learned.
I'm a dog owner. and I am about to take my dog Max on a walk, and I just watched Josh's tutorial. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. All right, so I'm gonna take the loop of the leash, middle 2 fingers, and I'm gonna put it through like that.
Almost. I should have, like on the outside. So put it through, but have it feeding on the outside.
Oh, okay, I get
Yeah.
it.
So
That's you feel
better.
powerful.
Now try to tug on that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
It's not going anywhere. There you go.
And then I am going to, depending on the size of my dog, I'm going to form loops.
Loose.
Loose loops that I'm grabbing onto.
Maybe not quite that big.
Okay.
Because then it'll wrap around the dog's head or something. There you go, perfect.
Okay, cool. And I now have a handle that I'm holding my leash. I have just enough room so that I can feel if he gets out of position. See the V? It's almost like a little V there. And
Yeah.
so I can start walking my dog, heel. And it does, it feels really good. It feels like I have a lot of control, but I feel like if he were to, as I like to say, get a wild hair,
Yeah.
if he were to make a split-second decision to lunge, I
Yeah.
can go like this.
Yeah, so let's try that. I'll
Sit.
recall him to me, I'll ask him to come to me, and you're gonna pretend that he's lunging and that you need to create that space. And what you're gonna do is exactly what you just did, and you kept the leash in the other hand, but you're gonna start heading in the other direction. And what's gonna happen is he's going to feel the tension on the other leash, on the end of the leash as you're walking that way, and you're gonna safely redirect him back
Got
to
it.
you. Ready? So go ahead and just start walking randomly,
Heel.
and I will try to get him to go away from you. Max, drop the leash, turn, oh, there you go, there's an example of dropping the entire leash. That was easy, right?
Oh, super easy.
So let's do another one. Well, that keeps you safe, but let's say you don't want to let your dog go.
Okay.
Let's say it's one of those situations where you just can't afford to let your dog go. It's too dangerous, but you need to keep yourself safe and you need to keep your dog safe. What we want to do is drop everything except what's in between your 2 fingers.
Okay.
Head in the opposite direction. When you hit the end of the leash, give a little tug for him to come back to you.
Okay. Heel.
Okay? Let's try that again.
This feels so good. Notice my arm is nice and relaxed down by my side. I'm not walking like this.
Max. Max. Okay, so he's trained too well. But I seen how you did get everything. You dropped everything
Yeah.
except what's in your hand there. So, can you demonstrate to people how you can drop all the leash except what's in between your fingers here? The
So
handle?
I love this. Thank you so much, Josh. This is going to change so many people's ways of walking their dog, and it makes everything so much safer. If he were to lunge at something or make a bad decision, and I feel like I could possibly be going with him and be dragged with him, all I'm going to do is release my 3 fingers that the leash is not wrapped around.
And you create space,
It's awesome.
but you still got your dog.
Yes. If I feel like there's no hope, and me being 7 months pregnant and my dog is really going after something, and my first priority is me, and I want to drop the whole leash, this is what I would do. So we're walking, boom, dog lunges.
Oh, you're gonna have to do it again.
Okay.
I went to your face because I wanted to see your expression. Yep, it's just like that.
So I'm walking, I feel like my dog is about to lunge and there's no hope. I don't even want to keep the leash in my hand because I'm scared, and my number 1 priority is me. All I'm going to do is spread my fingers and drop the leash, and there it goes. So you have a couple different options, and when you, especially if you are going to do option A, which is keep the leash in your hand to pop your dog back to you, you really want to make sure your leash is attached to a prong collar. Do not do this if your leash is attached to a harness or a flat buckle collar, okay? So leash attached to the prong collar, heel. Your dog lunges, and you still have your dog, okay? Good boy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps you. I know making a video on how to hold a leash seems pretty basic, but it's very important.